Part 21. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 201. Chapter 201 The Power of Wood Dungeon. When it was daylight, Naoki looked calmly at the two Kusanagi ninjas who came out of the surrounding woods in embarrassment. This forest is rope trees would escape ninjutsu, birthed from the sea of trees. Originally, the ninjas who were chasing after were a small team, with 2 jonin and 2 jonin, but now there are only 2 jonin left. Konoha ninja, it really is you. Seeing Rosuke's Konoha forward protector, the two Kizakakakushi Kamijino glanced at each other, a stern look flashed across their faces. You looted the citizens of our country of grass, this doesn't seem to be what a ninja from a friendly country should do. Among the 2 jonin, the thin and tall one stepped forward, as if planning to launch a powerful mouth escape technique. Our hidden grass village is friendly with Konoha, if this is your personal behavior, we will protest to Konoha. Now return our nationals, and go back with us to accept the crime, we cannot hold you accountable for killing 2 of us, no, it is the matter of the 3 jonin. Humph, that kid's expression doesn't take us seriously at all. If you want me to see it, I'd better kill him directly. The short and fat jonin embraced his thick arms and snorted angrily. Just now the 2 jonin subordinates were mercilessly killed by the other party. It can be seen that he simply ignored the so-called friendship between the 2 villages. It's over? It's a shame that you can say such disgusting things without changing your face. Naoki looked indifferent, and the 2 guys on the opposite side were not jonin among the 3 waves of ninjas he found when he fled the small village where Carnation was at the beginning. After all, those people should all be hurt badly. You guys, do you know who she is? She is from the country of grass. The thin and tall jonin narrowed his eyes slightly, but still did not give up the art of evading his mouth. As for her ability, it is also a precious asset of our country of grass. You are destroying the friendship between our 2 countries, Konoha ninja. She is my cousin. I also have the blood of Uzumaki. I have already investigated what happened to her in the country of grass. Nesuke looked at the 2 Kusanagi Kaminin with a sharp gaze, and his complexion changed slightly, and he snorted coldly. I didn't kill the 2 of you at the first time, because of the friendship between the 2 villages, now I want to take her home. Do you have any objections? Uzumaki bloodline, would escape ninjutsu. After all, it's a jonin, and the thin and tall jonin finally realized that the one opposite was not Konoha's jonin. That's why, I said that there is a problem with that forest. Are you Konoha's jonin, the grandson of the first Hokage, the younger brother of Konoha's son in Tsunade, Kodashi Nadoki? It's really a rude nickname without taste. Rope Tree nodded. That's right, with your Kayan village's usual methods, it is now a diplomatic matter. I took Carnation away, and I will not pursue what your Kayan village has done. Frowning and looking at each other, an inexplicable look flashed in the eyes of the tall and thin jonin and the short and fat jonin. That can't be done. Knowing your identity, we want to keep you even more. Your value is no less than that woman. Tuk tuk. A string of shurikens and kunai were tied to Naoki's body, and the tall and thin jounin and the short and fat jounin attacked Naoki brazenly. Boom! A wooden man wearing rope tree clothes appeared on the spot, and the 2 Kusanagi shinobu's expressions froze. Really, Rangyu's story is right, a village full of politicians is unbelievable. The figure of the rope tree rushed out of the soil, forming seals with both hands, and flicked his arms. Would escape the technique of the great forest. A large pile of wooden vine branches stretched out with both arms attacked the 2 grass hermits, and the 2 quickly formed seals. Fire escape dragon fire art. Earth dungeon earth flow wall. Defending with earth dungeon, and counter-attacking with fire dungeon at the same time, the 2 Kusakakage Jaminin are also determined to keep the rope tree and Carnation together. Tisk, why don't you defend together? Wood done, silent killing and binding technique. With a flick of his left hand, Shenshu blocked the branch that was attacking the earth flow wall from the jet of flames, and the branch of his right hand stretched, directly binding the tall and thin Jonin who had cast the fire escape and did not move. Even the tall and slender Jounin whose mouth was covered had no idea that Naoshu's Mudun could change his moves midway, and was tied up tightly. Although the branch on Zishu's left hand was ignited by the fire escape, it was cut off and thrown to the ground before it burned to Zishu himself. Wood Dungeon Wood Clone. Wood Escape Tree Bound Eternal Burial. After launching 2 wooden escape ninjutsu in a row, the wooden avatar rushed straight to the short and fat Jonin who found something wrong and attacked from behind the earth flow wall, while Naoki himself launched a kill on the thin and tall Jonin who was struggling desperately. Clatter! Countless vine-like saplings entangled the slender ninja bound by the branches, and then grew into a big tree, sealing him in it. Just so little ability, want to catch me? Naoki sneered. These 2 Jonin were of average level, and it was too young to catch him, the former Umbu elite. Boom! On the side of the wood clone, because the fighting Ori is relatively weak, it didn't take much effort for the short and fat Jonin to eliminate it. But the moment the wooden avatar disappeared, it suddenly turned into countless wooden branches and entangled the chunky upper ninja. Damn it! Earth Dungeon is useless. Chubby Jonin tried to escape from the ground by using the soil ninjutsu, but failed. Thick wooden branches entangle him. This is wood, not soil, he has no way to touch the ground and escape. It's your turn Wood Dun King Kong Zayamu. Boom. Several hard wooden awls rushed out from the ground, directly smashing the bound chunky Jonin. Can you still move? Wood Dun, huh? Zishu was about to continue to attack, but found that there was a dazzling thunder flashing on the side of the thin and tall Jonin who was suppressed by the tree before. Is it a good idea to use Thunder Tunnel to make a breakthrough? Shenshu frowned, and his face became gloomy after the tall and thin Jonin broke through the suppression of the big tree. He ignored him and rushed directly to the small house where Carnation was located. Extremely shameless. Instantly understood what the tall and thin Jonin was going to do, Naoki snorted coldly, and moved his fingers slightly. I have been guarding against you for a long time. Shua, Shua, Shua. The 3 wooden avatars stood in front of the tall and thin Jonin, making him look ugly. Damn it! Want to take hostages? It's too simple. Wood Dungeon Wooden Dragon Art. With a stern expression on his face, Naoki activated the strongest ninjutsu he has mastered so far, the secret technique of the first Hokage Senjujima. In the slender and horrified face of Shinobu, the tumbling dense trees quickly formed a huge wooden dragon with a hooked nose and thorns all over its body. The wooden dragon's eyes glowed, and it roared to entangle the slender and tall Shangren who was firmly controlled by the 3 wooden clones, and then... my chakra. I'm losing. What kind of technique is this? Although it's far behind Grandpa, it's enough to deal with a small character like you. Shengshu waved his hand, and the chunky man on the other side who was about to get up was pierced by a wooden thorn, and there was no movement. Goodbye, your pursuers are approaching again, but this time, they won't be able to catch up with us. The wooden dragon opened its mouth wide, and swallowed the thin and tall Jonin who was getting weaker and weaker in one gulp. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 202. Chapter 202 Rope Tree's Luck. The 3rd generation of Hokage Sarutobi Hiruza once again called Goto, Minato, and Kushina several young people to discuss matters. But this time, their meeting place is not Hokage building, but Uzumaki Mito's mansion. Poor child. Wrinkled Uzumaki Mito hugged Uzumaki Carnation with pity, and sighed. Uzumaki Kushina next to her was wiping her tears, happy and angry at the same time. Senior Shenshu, thank you. Carnation is my good sister. When I was young, I thought I would never see her again. Kushina's long red hair seemed to have turned into 9 tails, and she waved her fist viciously. Those grass-hidden ninjas are simply scum. Your attack is still too light. If it were me, I would kill all those grass-hidden ninjas. I want to protect Carnation's safety first. I don't have Minato and Satoru's flying Raijin, otherwise I don't mind teaching them some unforgettable lessons. Nakoki touched his nose and sighed helplessly. Wu, you are right, the people in Kayan village really want to take me back. Tisk, I still want to help you find a wife, but you. Satoru's sigh made Naoki's face turn red quickly, and the expressions of the others also became strange. It's good for you, you kidnapped one yourself. You, don't talk nonsense. Me, other girls. Shengshu rushes to Wu in a hurry, trying to cover his mouth, but he just misses it. Wu flashes away. Minato and Kushina looked at each other strangely, and then turned to Carnation tacitly. Carnation, lying in Uzumaki Mito's arms, had flushed cheeks. Oh, Carnation, double happiness. Juzine suddenly became happy, jumped in front of Carnation and pulled her up. Don't hide here from your ancestors. Let me tell you, senior brother Shenshu is a good person, although sometimes he is a bit stupid. Hey! Kushina! Naoki looked at Kushina with a mournful face as he pulled Carnation aside, and began to mutter, with sweat on his forehead instantly. Minato! Say something. Well, senior brother Nesuke, congratulations. Minato smiled gently. Kushina's childhood playmate could be found by Naoki and brought to Konoha, and the two of them flirted with each other when they came. If you say nothing, who will believe it? Carnation seems to be a gentle and kind girl, and senior brother Shenshu will be happy. Nakoki glared at Minato fiercely, then turned to Uzumaki Mito. Grandma, don't listen to their nonsense. Hee, good grandson, well done, grandma supports you. Uzumaki Mito looked at Naoki blushing helplessly with a smile, and shook his head regretfully after a while. Oh, it's a pity, I still have to abide by Zujian's instructions, otherwise your child's surname will be Whirlpool. Mito-sama, Nakoki is dying, so we'll discuss this later? Some fidgeting Sarutobi Hirako stroked his beard. He was not allowed to smoke in Mito, he didn't even bring a pipe. He felt a little uncomfortable when he was addicted to cigarettes. Whirlpool Carnation can return to Konoha safely, and Kayan village should not continue to entangle, otherwise I will have a good talk with them. Hirozuru Sarutobi snorted coldly. I even want to catch my Konoha's Mudun ninjas. If I don't have to use them to resist Yanyan village, I will withdraw my support now. Rijan, I am so happy today. The return of the clan is not only a blessing for my Uzumaki clan, but also a blessing for the village. This child has suffered too much, you must treat her kindly. Although she is not a ninja, she is now the granddaughter-in-law of the old man. Of course, Mito-sama, our Konoha will definitely not be like Kayan village, this child will get the best protection. Hirozuru Sarutobi glanced at Satoru who was complaining about Nawaka with Minato, and laughed. I was worried at first, that Naoshi child is like Wu, who is indifferent to girls. It seems that I am worrying too much, ha ha ha. That disciple of Tsunade, Satoru is still not tempted, really, this kid is stunned by his research. Uzumaki Mito, like many elderly people, began to worry about her grandchildren's emotional problems. Now that her grandson's affairs seemed to be settled, she began to worry about her savior again. Rijan, as the head of the village, you should worry more. I'm afraid I can't do anything about emotional matters, let it take its course. Hirozuru Sarutobi's impeccable answer made Mito Uzumaki couldn't help but give him a blank look. The return of Carnation today is a surprise. Originally I asked you to wake up because Ninetales had some movement. Wait until I bring Carnation and Nawaka there, you look at Kushina and Minato, and see what Kuwabai wants to do. I see. Hirozuru Sarutobi's complexion remained unchanged, he nodded, and moved his eyes to Kushina. Is Kushina's recent situation okay? I've always been worried that Ninetales would make trouble. When you first sealed Ninetales, it took a while for him to calm down. It was Hashirama's departure, which made the old man's mood fluctuate, so it had the opportunity to take advantage of it. Now it has no chance, but it doesn't even have a general resistance, which is rather strange. Uzumaki Mito knocked on his hand. Sure enough, it is still useful to understand that child's communication last time. Now the situation in the ninja world is tense again. Onoji is so bold to test us. On the side of Thunder Country, that guy AI is not very peaceful. It seems that Tang Country has also found a trace of Yunyin. Hirozuru Sarutobi rubbed his forehead and sighed softly. Yunyin is okay, but Yunyin, I'm still a little worried about their research on tail beast weapons. Are you worried that the war will break out again, and Kushina will go to the battlefield? Uzumaki Mito shook his head. Now, they all know that the old body is still Ninetales Jinchuriki, and Kushina will not be in danger, but whether he can go to the battlefield or not, let's see the result of Satoru's communication with Ninetales this time. Yes, then let's get ready. Ninetales, what do you want to do this time? Uzumaki Mito got up, called the red-faced carnation to come over, and called Naoki, who had given up resistance like a dead dog, and took them to the next room. Hiruzen Sarutobi clapped his hands and greeted Satoru, Minato, and Kushina. Okay, you three, let's see now, what does Kuwabai want to say this time? Kushina, when can we start? Anytime. Kushina touched the seal on her stomach, full of confidence. Kuwabai is very good now, no problem. Don't take it lightly. Hirozuru Sarutobi signaled Minato to be optimistic about Kushina, and nodded to Satoru. Then without further ado, I will draw the sealing formula first, and then we will begin. Wu touched his chin. Well, it doesn't need to be so troublesome, forget it, as long as you are happy. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 203. Chapter 203, Feeding 3 years apart. Everything was ready. Satoru sat opposite Kushina, and his spirit entered the seal of Ninetales again. Yo, Nine Llamas, we meet again. Seems like you're having a good time recently. Satoru looked at Kuwabai, who was dozing peacefully with eyes closed, and said hello. Bastard, which eye of yours sees this uncle happy? Try pinning you like this. Kuwabai's slightly squinted eyes widened, his limbs and the tip of his tail trembled, obviously making Wu very angry. 3 years. Do you know how my uncle has lived these 3 years? Satoru rubbed his nose. It seemed that Kushina's seal strength was much stronger than that of the aged Uzumaki Mito. Kuwabai was indeed not very comfortable to be sealed. Okay, but it seems that you have not been lonely these 3 years. Enlightenment found that the arcane crystal he left 3 years ago was still there, and it seemed that Ninetales restrained his greed and did not eat it. Are you keeping it for research? Humph. When your kid comes in, there's no need to keep it. Ah. Kuwabai swallowed the arcane crystal floating in front of him in one gulp, and bit it with a crack, cluck. Wu rubbed his forehead, and waved his hand to condense a larger arcane crystal. Okay, do you want me to come in and communicate because you have studied the way out? Boom, boy, you said 3 years ago that you were going to destroy the golem of the heretics, are you serious? Kuwabai gritted his teeth and stared at Wu. Do you know what a heretic golem is? Of course I know, the body of the ten-tailed beast. U-tailed beast is the entity created by the division of the ten-tailed chakra by the sage of the 6 paths, using the yin and yang escape, right? Go shook his neck and kept looking up at the huge 9 tails, feeling a little troublesome. The remaining 10 tails, which are the body of the sacred tree, are the golems of heretics. How should I put it, these are not completely confidential. That's right, things that have appeared in the world are not secrets, but I didn't expect you to know so clearly. Kyuubi swallowed the arcane crystal, his eyes drifted to the bigger crystal beside Wu. Wu grinned, and threw the arcane crystal to Kyuubi with interest. Ah! Kyuubi bit it down, and gave Sato a approving look. My uncle is in a good mood today, I can chat with you more. I want to ask you something, the arcane crystal has the same effect on you tailed beasts? Or do you prefer it? Why? A few of them will only be better than me, I am the strongest Kyuubi. Learn. Jiwei rolled his eyes, feeling something was wrong, but he couldn't say it, so he simply didn't think about it. I just mentioned 10 tails. You know that 10 tails is the sacred tree, so do you know where the golem is? Yes, in a cave underground. Humph. Idiot, I already know that you don't know. Heretic golems are not in the ninja world at all. Kyuubi raised his head arrogantly, and said with contempt. There are always things you don't know, I thought you had seen the old man of 6 paths. Satoru simply made a reclining chair made of arcane crystals, and lay down on it under Kyuubi's complicated gaze. Well, this angle is just right for talking to you, and it hurts to keep raising your head and neck. Ignoring Kyuubi's eyes that wanted to eat people, Go shook his finger. Tisk tisk, you are ignorant, you have been sealed for so many years after all, no matter where the heretic golem was originally, it is now in a cave somewhere. Because, the eye of reincarnation has already appeared. Kyuubi's eyes widened, his mouth opened wide, and he couldn't make a sound for a while. You said reincarnation eyes? Who is it? Those are the eyes of the old man of 6 paths. That's right, one of the symbols of the sage of the 6 paths, the eyes of reincarnation, is known as the most noble of the 3 pupil arts, it is also a manifestation of the power of the 6 paths. Satoru nodded, seeing Kyuubi's eager look, he couldn't help but comfort him. Don't worry, these eyes should be awakened on their own, it's not that someone dug the grave of the old man Liudeo, and most of the graves are. Bastard. Only this uncle can be called Ludeo old man. Kyuubi gritted his teeth, and Wu scratched his head, so he could only smile wryly and offer another arcane crystal to make amends. Okay, old man, immortal of the 6 paths, okay, it's really. Boom. I mean. Boom. 9 llamas. Boom. Okay, that person is Uchiha Madara. Hey. Cough cough cough. Kyuubi coughed violently, stretched his neck desperately, his eyeballs almost protruded before he swallowed the stuck arcane crystal. Who are you talking about? Uchiha Madara. That bastard. He's not dead yet. The scourge will last for thousands of years. My uncle has lived for 1,000 years. Wu covered his head in pain, if the tailed beast became arrogant, it would be endless. Okay, let's not talk about how long you have lived. I can only tell you that because of some special reasons, after Uchiha Madara merged with the power of Senjuzujian, Kaleidoscope Sharingan evolved into Samsarian, so he got the ability to psychic heretic golems. Satoru had no choice but to say a lot in one breath, before Kyuubi calmed down a bit. Uchiha Madara, Senju Hashirama, these two capable people, one drives him like a pet, and the other hangs him like a pet. Well, Samsara if it's the two of them, it's not surprising. What evidence do you have? Uchiha Madara gave his reincarnation eye to a young man, and he hoped to induce that young man to resurrect him when his lifespan was exhausted and died. The reincarnation eye has this ability. And I have already seen that young man before I saw you. Kyuubi gritted his teeth with a creak and became irritable. Damn, if Uchiha Madara really succeeds, he will not be willing to be unknown, he will definitely do something. Thinking of this, Kyuubi inexplicably felt a little happier. Humph. Anyway, I can't see him, you humans can kill each other, it's retribution. Guys of that level, in their heyday, the shadows of your 5 great powers combined can't even think about defeating. Ah, I feel so much better for no reason. I know the relationship between the heretic golem and your tailed beasts, so I also know that if Uchiha Madara really wants to do something, he who owns the heretic golem will definitely hit the tailed beast's idea. Satoru's words made Kuwabai look ugly. Think of it. You have Uchiha Madara's psychic contract on you. But unfortunately, now that you are in a sealed state, I cannot help you cancel the psychic contract, and it is obviously impossible to let you out. For that Madara, any Hinjiriki, as long as he wants, is nothing to worry about. That's why you want to take the bottom line and destroy the heretic golem directly. Kuwabai finally understands the plan of enlightenment. He has found Madara's trace. In order to prevent this old psychopath from making any big troubles, he must start in advance. Unfortunately, my uncle called you here this time to tell you. Ninetales grinned, and his tone finally became a little loose. After several years of research, I discovered that although your arcane power is very special, it seems that there is still something missing in order to destroy the golem of the heretics. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 204. Chapter 204. Pay attention to the third party. Knowing that Uchiha Madara, whom he hated deeply, was still jumping around in the ninja world, and had the same eyes of reincarnation as the old man of 6 paths, Kuwabai didn't continue to put on airs. Telling comprehension about the experience and research on arcane power in the past 3 years, Kuwabai finally concluded. In short, even the immortal power of the old man of the 6 paths and yin-yang done failed to destroy the golem of the outer Dao. Although your arcane power seems to be similar in nature to that of the Dao-seeking jade, it should not be able to do it either. To the thing. Unless, it goes one step further. Two-way, that thing is not an ordinary concept, it is a monster formed by drawing the energy of most of the ninja world. Well, although I used to be a part of it, it is not the same thing at all. It is an almost infinite collection of natural energies, but it is not as smart as this uncle. It is a fool with no brains but only instincts. Satoru looked at Kuwabai feeling complacent, thinking that even if Kagaya was resurrected, the sacred tree with Kagaya's consciousness bonus would be the same, so he had to admit Kuwabai's statement. 10 tails are the main body of the sacred tree, so the wood escape secret technique is so special, it can suppress tailed beasts and absorb chakra, isn't that right? Kuwabai glanced at Satoru in surprise. Being able to think of this level, it seems that you have studied Mudun very thoroughly, and that's basically what it is. Mudun is originally an ability of Shiwei. Received the affirmation of Kuwabai, Wu nodded silently, and asked again. You said that my current arcane power is similar to that of the Tao-seeking jade, so what do you think it needs to surpass the Tao-seeking jade? The Jade of Seeking Dao is a special ninjutsu formed by the yin-yang and 5-element escape technique. Although its nature exceeds the limit of blood successors and the elimination of blood successors, it is still not a trap of blood successors. You know the snares of blood successors, right? Seeing Satoru nodded, Kuwabai continued. Using the yin and yang escape technique to create a shape, and adding high-density chakras of the yin and yang, 5 elements and 7 attributes, this is the seeking jade. But the chakras of the 7 natures are only gathered and compressed together, and there is no fusion, so although they can resist ninjutsu of all natures, they can't resist the celestial arts mixed with natural energy. Oh! Gaku's eyes lit up. Kuwabai finally got to the point. If it merges, it will be a blood successor snare. That's right, only by merging into one can we have all kinds of magical effects beyond ninjutsu, and we can get out of the scope of jutsu. The same is true for your arcane power. There is only form, but it has not escaped the scope of spell. It lacks one. Ninetales one kind for a long time, then simply raised his head. Anyway, it's missing that meaning. I don't know exactly what's going on, maybe only the old man of 6 paths knows. Having said so much, Kyuubi came to an unfinished end very simply, making Gaku's eyes twitch. You won't let me ask the Sage of the Six Paths myself. Ha! He's been dead for hundreds of years. Anyway, my uncle raised a problem for you. You can figure out how to solve it yourself. Hey! Wu's expression became strange. The immortal of the Six Paths is dead, but there is still a chance to see him, but I probably already figured out what's going on. Ah! First, ignoring Kyuubi's astonishment that there is still a chance to meet the Sage of the Six Paths, Satoru thought carefully about Kyuubi's words. Kudeo Jade has no process of fusion, that is to say, it only contains all things, so its power is huge, it can be called everything, and it is extremely varied. Shueji Snare is formed by the fusion of all the changes in nature, becoming one, possessing the ability of authority that 10,000 does not have. Let's look at the arcane power again. The arcane power used by mages, even if it is a guardian, most of them still tend to destroy if it is used for creation. The arcane power used for creation can only be used by titans, or at least the guardians of the titans who have been given authority by the titans, to create all things with the arcane power. It's a complete body. In terms of combat power alone, Titan guardians are uneven, but Freya, who seems to be weak, can create a bug-like secret realm like the Emerald Dream, which is simply unreasonable. This is the charm of arcane power. Computing, this is much more powerful than Medivh. Old Mai can fight many Titan guardians, but no one has high authority. Kajer is more watery. No Titan guardian can fight. I can fool the footman to work everywhere. But the power of arcane power is the prerogative of the Titans. Although the guardians of Tirisfal are powerful, they are still far behind in weaving the world with arcane arts. After all, the guardians are only mortals. Complete analysis of the upper limit of the Book of Medivh can basically reach the limit of no authority if we refer to the method of Ninja World to solve the authority problem. Enlightenment's eyes revealed infinite longing. Perhaps, we can transcend the realm of the Book of Medivh and reach above the Guardian. Hey! Boy Wu, what are you muttering about? Are you listening to me? Kyuubi struggled, wishing to wake Gaku up by spitting, and seeing the weird smile on Gaku's face, it finally couldn't help it. What do you think is going on with the old man of six paths? Sorry, I was distracted, but I probably understand what you mean by something is missing. 9 llamas, it seems that I really need to meet the immortal of the six paths. Satoru woke up with a start, and apologetically gave Juwei another wave of food, to calm the fox's restless mood. However, how to meet him, or his remnant soul, needs to be studied further. If I can really meet him, I will take you with me. Cut. I don't want to look like this now. Ninetails snorted coldly, but still glanced over unconsciously. Are you sure, his remnant soul is still there? Sure, I promise. Well then, I will trust you once more, my uncle. If you have nothing to do, go away, my uncle needs to be quiet. By the way, that arcane crystallization, save more, my uncle found that it is good to eat. Now you can see a little bit outside the seal. Kyuubi bared her teeth, with a look of contempt. The ghost knows that you kid won't come here for a few years. My uncle's Renzhuli is not your wife after all. When Satoru withdrew from the seal in embarrassment, he patted the inexplicable Minato on the shoulder very apologetically. Minato, I suggest you still, learn the sealing technique with Kushina more. Huh? Why? Kyuubi is probably because of my strength. Well, I can slowly reveal some perception, although it's just a little bit, but... Minato's face turned pale, and Kushina's face turned red with a shua. Cough, in short, strengthen the seal, don't be polite to him. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 205. Chapter 205, Renzhuli of Wuyan Village. 3 generations of Mizukage-sama. In the country of water, in Kirigakura village, an Umbu ninja appeared in front of Mizukage. Mizukage, who was working, with a somewhat complicated tone. This year's ninja school graduation exam is over. Oh. How was the result of this year? Sandai Mizukage raised his head, looked at Umbu's hesitant look, and frowned. What's the matter? Since we started to implement the relatively brutal graduation examination mechanism, there have been quite a few excellent ninjas. Could it be that the invigilator is soft-hearted this time, and there are too many people left? No, Mizukage-sama, Anbi shuddered, not daring to raise his head. On the contrary, this graduation exam, there is only one child left. That kid, he killed all the candidates who took the exam. What? Mizukage couldn't keep her composure anymore. What's going on? Although the graduation exam is a battle with each other, life and death are not considered, but this has never happened before. It's precisely because he doesn't care about life and death, that child is too strong. He didn't join hands with anyone, he did it by himself. The third Mizukage was silent. Since the blood fog policy was implemented last year to encourage brutal competition to cultivate talents, many excellent young seedlings have indeed emerged. But he is very clear that there must be excellent high-end talents and backbone talents, otherwise, the heritage of Wuyin village will be quickly consumed. We can't go on like this. Please invite the elders of Yuanchi University, and prepare the detailed written materials for this graduation exam. The examination rules of the ninja school need to be changed. What is the name of the child who survived? Yes, he called, don't cut the peach land again. 3 generations of Mizukage-sama, this should be fine. Master Yuan, the great elder of Wuyin village, handed the plan in his hand to the 3rd generation of Shuiying, who checked it carefully and nodded with satisfaction. Sure enough, the great elder's plan is meticulous and perfect, so let's do it like this, and the future exam rules will be based on this. 3 generations of Mizukage-sama, the old man said before that although the blood mist policy will stimulate the development of the village's strength, it also has many hidden dangers, and this is one of them. The great elder paused for a while on the snake-shaped crutch in his hand, and looked at the 3rd generation of Mizukage seriously. Now, the situation in various countries has become tense again, and there is not much time left for us. If our Wuyin village does not win enough benefits in this almost foreseeable battle, the village's heritage will be quickly consumed, and that would be bad. Indeed, but with the current combat strength of the village, I am afraid that it will not be easy to make achievements in the war, even with the help of allies. Mizukage smiled wryly. Although the 7 ninja swordsmen are strong, they are not a regular force. A few years ago, the 7 ninja swordsmen were targeted by Konoha in the first battle, so they did not have the expected effect at all. Thinking back to the legendary Blue Hermit now, as we thought, Konoha had already detected the information at that time. Fortunately, they didn't find any information about the ally, otherwise they wouldn't have left so simply. So, how do you think about the old man's proposal? Master Yuan shook his head. Now we must make a decision as soon as possible. Although there are clues to a war, according to the current situation, there is not a few years where we can't fight. We still have time. Okay, just do as the elder said. The 3rd Mizukage was silent for a moment, and finally made a decision. Prepare manpower, capture Liyue, arrange that kid bubble, and prepare for the Jinchuriki sealing ceremony. Somewhere in an underground cave, during the daily routine report, Hazy appeared in front of Madara again. Master Madara, there are 2 pieces of news worth noting today. Oh. Let's hear it. Uchiha Madara's old face remained motionless, and he only half opened one eye. Recently, all he brought was news of friction in some areas, and there was nothing he was interested in. Even if it's news from Nagato, it's just that they are busy helping someone. Madara felt that she was almost disgusted by Nagato's kindness. If kindness can handle everything, what is the meaning of his Uchiha Madara's existence? Yes, Madara-sama, the first news is that Wuin village is preparing to send out manpower to arrest Liyue. They have prepared a child as a human pillar force. It seems that they will finally be unable to restrain themselves and include the tailed beast in their force. Range. The land of water, there should be two tailed beasts. After letting them wander around for so many years, the third generation of Mizukage finally couldn't bear it anymore. Madara became slightly interested. Why, are you wary of our cooperation? He doesn't have to be so, we just gave him some useful advice, didn't he follow suit? Madara-sama, Kirigakuru's chief elder supports Jinchuriki's plan, but Mizukage is still relatively indecisive. Fortunately, Madara-sama, your suggestion gave him a sense of crisis. It's just that it's not so easy for Renzhuli to become a combat power, and they still need more help from us. The left and right are just a little advice. The stronger they are, the more chaotic the situation will be. We still have to give this kind of help. Madara nodded slowly. What about the other news? Master Madara, just as you expected, Konoha's Danzo has never given up on tracking down the spores of Baizi. He who has the wood escape secret technique seems to be aware of our existence based on the spores of Baizi. Oh. Madara was interested this time, his eyes wide open. Right now, Danzo is at a low point in his life. The power he can use in Konoha has weakened a lot. What does he want to do when he is looking for us so actively? I don't know, Madara-sama, do you need to establish contact with Danzo? Well, yes, but don't reveal your identity, let's see what Danzo wants to do first. Clear. Konoha, hidden in the roots of the ground, Danzo sat in a dark room, closed his eyes and meditated. Cough. With a sudden cough, Danzo opened his eyes and frowned. Sure enough, although the wood escape secret technique was successfully obtained, the erosiveness of the cells between the columns still requires mental suppression. The face of the first generation of Hokage will actually appear on the chest, but this is already the case with the highest compatibility. The chakra of the first generation of Hokage is really extraordinary. The powerful body energy makes me seem to be 10 years younger. Reaching out to touch his left chest, Danzo was expressionless, but he couldn't help feeling a little regretful about his secret laboratory. It's a pity for Baileahu. If we continue to improve, maybe even these hidden dangers can be eliminated. Sunjan, Yan, Wu, Humph. But I also understand some of the information left by Baileahu. Those mysterious pollution spores are the key to resisting erosion. As long as we follow this clue, there must be a solution. Just thinking about it, Danzo's expression changed. Boom boom boom. There is a knock on the door. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 206. Chapter 206. The White Spore. Come in. The door opened and a root ninja walked in. Master Danzo. What's up? About the strange spores you investigated earlier. Danzo's eyes were fixed, and he quickly closed his seal. You are not Hai, who are you? The root ninja Hai was slightly taken aback, while Danzo snorted coldly. The curse seal is useless, it seems that Hai is gone. It's interesting to pretend to be my subordinate to see me. Do I still have this value? He, Danzo-sama is indeed worthy of being the leader of Gen, and you discovered it with just one sentence. Hai turned back and closed the door, chuckling lightly. You don't have to be angry, I have no malice, but how did you find out? I still have great confidence in my transformation technique. This matter is top secret, and will only be reported through code names and code words. Of course I can tell the top secret information you have shared so happily. Danzo stared at Hai. He couldn't tell the difference between the guy in front of him and his subordinates from his appearance or even his chakra characteristics. But just now he felt something was wrong, so he activated the sealing technique planted on his subordinates, and the sealing technique did not respond, which made him really sure that the person opposite was a counterfeit. You made so much effort to sneak in here, you didn't come to find out the secret words of my roots, did you? I see, then I'll just say it straight, Danzo-sama. Hai bowed slightly. The clues you were looking for, the mysterious spores, are what us left behind. It seems that you have used them to make some incredible achievements. You. Danzo slowly let go of the fingerprints on his hand, and sure enough, as he thought, those mysterious spores have a lot of background. A long time ago, we worked underground in this place, and when we evacuated, some of the spores were also left behind, but they were in a deep sleep. For some special reason, they seem to be active again recently, and we can detect the changes here. He talked nonsense without blinking his eyes. Hai looked up and down Danzo, whose complexion was constantly changing. Originally we just paid attention to the situation here, but we didn't expect that you seemed to be very interested in us, and speaking of it, we seem to have some incense with Konoha. Watching Danzo's complexion change again with evil interest, Hai stepped forward and said in a low voice. Then Danzo-sama, we took the initiative to show up to meet you, what can you do with us? Danzo's thoughts turned sharply, quickly thinking about the credibility of the words of this guy pretending to be his subordinate. He is very clear about the mysterious spores, so they are the forces behind the spores, so it shouldn't seem like a fake. The spores they left behind a long time ago, has something to do with Konoha. Are they also the ones who secretly study Mudon, the Thousand Hands clan? No, it's impossible. What's the relationship between you and Konoha? Well, it's all old stuff, you don't have to worry about it, but we might be able to help you with some of the difficulties you're currently facing. Behind the cold mask of Hai is a pair of golden pupils. Like the fact that you have to waste mental power all the time against the physical power of the intercolumnar cells. Danzo's face twitched fiercely, and the other party's understanding of him made him feel a little bad. You know a lot. But you better not have any other thoughts, this is Konoha. Danzo took a deep breath. The other party refused to explain what it had to do with Konoha. As a high-level executive, he never knew what abandoned facilities Konoha had here, so. If you want to make enemies with Konoha, then I have no choice but to kill you. Well, don't be nervous, Danzo-sama. Hai took a step back and waved his hands again and again. We don't mean to be an enemy of Konoha, otherwise, we wouldn't come to see you so low-key, right? We just want to see what you need to help. After all, in a sense, you are not happy right now. Our leader is always helpful, maybe we can help you solve your difficulties. Joke. Help me solve it? Hidden guy, can you help me become Hokage? Danzo laughed angrily. His patience had been exhausted by the guy pretending to be his subordinate, and he was about to seal. Sure. Danzo's movements stopped. You're not joking. You're not kidding either, Danzo-sama. Danzo slowly retracted his sealed hands, and took another deep look at Hai. Then maybe we should have a good talk. My pleasure. He, ha 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 ha. Would escape secret technique, such a dreamy blood succession limit. In the country of Sichuan, between the country of fire and the country of wind, in a secret underground laboratory, a white-haired man laughed wildly. Old fellow Danzo, I didn't expect that. Not only did I use the erosive power of the intercolumn cells to suppress your curse seal, but I also developed a more perfect transplantation technique than the one used for you. Bai Liahua, the former chief researcher of Genview, is excitedly testing the wood escape technique he just acquired. No, it's not right, not strong enough. The huge vitality in the cells between the columns has not been fully utilized, and Mudun is still limited by my own chakra. After the ecstasy, Bai Liahua gradually calmed down. He was not very satisfied with the test of the strength of the wooden escape. This is just the strength of Shenchu's wood escape. With these alone, my aptitude cannot be fundamentally changed. Bailehu frowned deeply and paid a huge price. When he learned that Umbu came to find Danzo again, he deliberately detonated the laboratory and escaped secretly from the route with the research results. Giving up everything in Konoha, Bailehu counted on the hidden research results to make a comeback. But just relying on Mudun doesn't seem to be enough. It seems that my previous assumption was correct. A gloomy light flashed across his eyes, and Bailehu raised his right hand and stared at his palm in ecstasy. One finger cannot be clenched into a fist, 5 fingers will do. Then, if there are 5 blood succession boundaries, if 5 different blood succession boundaries can be combined, how strong will it be? He, what a genius idea. Such a difficult blood succession boundary as the wood escape secret technique, can be transplanted successfully, and more types can definitely be done. Then the most important thing is the fusion between the blood successor boundaries, but before that. Bailehu turned his head to look at the test bench. Some white tissue was wriggling gently in a petri dish above. These white spores can greatly eliminate the erosion reaction of the cells between the columns. What exactly is this? It seems that it is necessary to go back to the place where these things were found and investigate carefully. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 207. Chapter 207 The Opportunity of the Uchiha Clan. Yeah, Sister Mikan, is this your son? 107. Wu teased the baby in the swaddle, and the baby fell asleep soundly, seemingly ignoring the harassment from the outside world. Well, Mr. Itaki is very obedient and quiet, which saved me a lot of trouble. Uchiha Mikoto smiled softly. Although Satoru's pronunciation seemed a little weird, she still called her son's name correctly. So, Sister Mikan, have you really decided to stay at home and take care of your husband and children? Wu poked for a long time. 12 students still ignored sleeping soundly, could not help but feel a little embarrassed, so the topic turned to Mikoto. The patriarch of the Uchiha clan, the son of the first 100 days, was originally just celebrating the first feeding of the baby at home, so Mikoto specially invited friends to come. Wu was invited and came to congratulate on behalf of his father. Uchiha Fugaku is still a little embarrassed about Satoru's coming. After all, this is the guy who threatened him in front of his tribe. However, he also understood the deep meaning of Wu's appearance here. Because although the Uchiha clan has been calmed down a lot under his hard work, but now that the wars are gradually increasing, some people have begun to become restless. Strictly speaking, he is also responsible for this matter. During his wife's pregnancy, more than half of his mind was not on work. Therefore, Fuyu, who has a strong sense of responsibility, knows well that Wu came today, not just to witness his son's first meal. Therefore, after the banquet, Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Mikoto invited Wu to the back house alone. Even Mikan's other friends left consciously. Now in the eyes of the higher UPS, Satoru is no longer just an elite jonin. His importance is no less than Konoha's Sunin. Well, I think this is pretty good. I have been transferred to the police force according to the village's practice. Now it is considered a welfare period. Mikan paused and clapped her hands. Ah, I was so happy that I forgot to prepare desserts for guests. Wu-jun, I have learned cooking skills. Fuyu, you guys talk first, I'll prepare. Xiangwu smiled apologetically. Mikoto got up and went to the kitchen. Only Uchiha Fugaku and Wu were left at the scene. Ah, Sister Mikan is still so understanding. Satoru turned to look at Uchiha Fugaku, who smiled wryly. Captain Fuyu, although I don't really want to come, but my father's face can't be better, but I can declare in advance that I am just a messenger. Wu, don't be self-effacing. You can even influence the judgment of the higher UPS to a certain extent. I still know this. Uchiha Fugaku helplessly looked at Wu, pretending to be stupid, and sighed. Speaking of which, you are not an outsider. Among other things, Thank you for taking care of Mikan for so many years, the friendship on the battlefield is the strongest. No, Captain Fuyu, do you know what kind of reputation Uchiha is in the village now, or it has always been like this? Satoru immediately dispelled the idea of Uchiha Fugaku's relationship. I thought you guys had stopped for a few years, but it started again recently. If this is the old man Danzo or the assistant of Hokage, why don't you use the excuse to treat you well? Uchiha Fugaku's eyes froze, and then he chuckled, but his already vicious face seemed a little awkward. Speaking of Danzo, he has been targeting our Uchiha clan. It is really a disaster for no reason this Hokage assisted in stepping down, but it is also thanks to you. That's his own death, otherwise I wouldn't bother to talk to him. Uchiha Fugaku's hint, why can't Satoru understand? The enemy of the enemy is the friend and so on, which is not applicable to all situations. I think Captain Fuyu should also understand that the Uchiha clan, or the potential problem of the special blood succession limit of Sharinan. In fact, I have personally studied this, so I understand that Danzo and even high-level concerns are not unreasonable. Oh. Uchiha Fugaku's face became serious, he knew that the previous statement still had some effect. If he was purely a messenger, Wu Kei would not have not passed the word until now, but had discussed more in-depth issues with him. Wu, what's your opinion? I don't dare to have a high opinion, Captain Fuyu, things always have to be resolved. Your efforts to restrain the clansmen are seen by the higher UPS, but the results are somewhat unsatisfactory. And if things go on like this, there won't be any good changes. I can tell you an undisclosed news. Satoru took a deep look at the silent Uchiha Fugaku. 3 generations of Hokage, in fact, have already let go of the restrictions on the Uchiha clan joining Umbu. At that time, Danzo was still the assistant of Hokage. What? Uchiha Fugaku couldn't hold back his face anymore. As the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, he didn't know about this. This kind of thing will not be announced deliberately, just like the unspoken rule of the Uchiha clans cannot become Umbu, it is not an express rule, is it? Satoru waved his hand, and then asked a question. Then you know, this matter has been going on for a while, why until now, no member of the Uchiha clan has become Umbu. Even when my team withdrew from Umbu, several positions were vacated, and no Uchiha received the invitation. Please advise me. Uchiha Fugaku let out a sigh of relief, his attitude towards Satoru is already different. As the patriarch, Uchiha Fugaku is still very pragmatic, and putting on airs depends on who the other party is. Because the higher UPS haven't discovered the Uchiha who sincerely hopes to solve the conflicts between the village and the family and puts it into action. Fuyu frowned at what enlightenment said. Wu, solving the conflicts between the village and the family is the wish of all Uchihas, and even more so, the wish of the patriarchs of all generations. That's right, but the speed is not easy to control, so although you have a wish, you either can't put it into action because of the relationship between the tribe, or you gave up the original idea after various things. Uchiha Fugaku was speechless. Not to mention the previous patriarch, even he, after he really sorted out the various tensions in the clan and the village, felt helpless. Uchiha Fugaku himself belongs to the moderate school, especially after having a son, he understands that a stable life is hard to come by. But he is still the patriarch of Uchiha, and he must seek benefits for the clan as much as possible. Konoha is just that big, and Uchiha's scale has surpassed the general concept of a big family, and he is inherently feared by the big families, plus the power of the police force, which is called glory, is actually a trap. Every time Uchiha Fugaku thinks of it, he has to deeply admire the second generation of Hokage Senshou Fijian. Even if you are deeply involved, you can't give up. So, Wu, what advice do you have? Uchiha Fugaku looked at Wu seriously. I believe that you don't want to harm Mikoto, and you also don't want to harm Uchiha. Your suggestion should be worth considering. I do have some ideas, but first, I need the cooperation of Patriarch Fu, and second, I need an opportunity. Wu shook his head. It's not the time yet, but regarding Enby, I can tell you very clearly that in a few years, Uchiha will be invited. And, glancing at the little guy who was still sleeping soundly in the swaddle, Wu showed a smile at the corner of his mouth. This little guy may also have a chance. Opportunity refers to. It's good to keep the status quo for now. We can talk about these things after the war is over. When the time comes, I will have a good talk with Patriarch Fu again. Before that, don't irritate the higher UPS anymore. If the war starts, Uchiha's power is likely to be needed. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 208. Chapter 208, Archmage Mitaman Enlightenment. Uchiha Mikoto's craftsmanship made Wu full of praise. Her skill in making desserts is very good, not only the taste is good, but also the shape is very good, such as the three-color dumpling, which can catch up with the time-honored brands in the village. Then, Miss Mikoto, Captain Fu, I will take my leave. If Itakakun is older, I'll come and see him. Shua. Satoru's figure disappeared, and Mikoto showed a smile on her face. Wu Jun is getting more and more powerful. Now I can't see how strong he is. Well, I don't seem to have seen it all the time. At least, I'm not sure I can beat him. Fuyu shook his head lightly. He crossed his arms and was still thinking about what Wu just said. Hearing what his wife said, he replied casually. It's fine if it's just a blink of an eye, but the feeling he gives me now is no less than any of the three ninjas. Just now he brought some very important news, and high-level views on Uchiha. But I always feel that he still has a lot of things to say, and his understanding of the Uchiha family is likely to be much more than we think. I really hope that this problem can be solved as soon as possible, and it doesn't have to continue to Itaki and his generation. It's just that the problem of the Uchiha clan has to be reminded by outsiders. As the patriarch, I really failed. Don't say that, aren't you working so hard for the clan and the village? I will always support you. Thanks. Finally, it's done. In the personal space, Wu let out a sigh of relief. Only a small part of the Book of Medivh shining with arcane light beside him had not been opened. Interpretation progress, 80%, finally crossed the barriers of high-level mages and archmages. After more than 10 years of hard work, Wu finally stepped into the realm of a great mage from a budding mage apprentice. Archmage is not only a state of strength, but also an honorary title. It is a respectful title for masters of magic who can have their own unique theoretical research results, create their own iconic spells, and form their own school. Of course, as a mage whose knowledge equals power, any great mage possesses powerful power that matches knowledge. The perfection of the theory and self-awareness will cause special changes in the spiritual power of the archmages. The most notable point is that you can use your powerful spirit to cross spatial distances and locate at ultra-long distances. Many archmages who are proficient in the transformation system can even open cross-boundary portals. In other words, from now on, enlightenment no longer needs the aid of the Flying Thunder God spell to teleport. The ninja world is so big, as long as the spiritual coordinates can reach, he can teleport it. Of course, he is too young, and his mental power has not yet reached such a strong level, so he probably can cover the entire Mue village, but it is only a matter of time and effort. And the spirit of transformation allows the archmages to launch a powerful group auxiliary spell. Brilliant Halo. This is a kind of ingenious stimulation that uses the power of the arcane to make the archmage himself and all the friendly units around him quickly recover their mental power. To put it bluntly, it is the group version of arcane meditation, but the effect is much weaker. But it only looks at the range and ignores the number of people, just like a spherical field centered on the archmage himself. In this field, All targets identified as friendly by the spirit mark of the Archmage can enjoy this effect. For mages, it is to speed up the recovery of mana. For ninjas, it can not only restore the spiritual power lost by refining chakra, but also make their thoughts clearer and sharper. Of course, if combined with the physical recovery effect of transfiguration. Fortunately, the range of the aura is not too exaggerated, otherwise there would be no war. Wu-Wu's theoretical research results are combined with the ninjutsu system in the ninja world to explore the possibility of obtaining authority with arcane power. The results of the last discussion with the 9 tails and 9 llamas are gradually increasing their feasibility under Wu's painstaking research. Until now, Wu is finally sure that this road is feasible. Even without the help of the immortals of the 6 paths, Wu is confident that he can obtain authority. There is still a long way to go before the Guardian level natural disaster level output, soul immortality and Star World Walk. The remaining 20% of the content is not something that can be interpreted in just a few years. After closing the book of Medivh, which seemed to have become more refined, Wu rubbed his forehead, and his mental power recovered quickly and was not consumed slowly. After space-based spells, time-based spells have finally appeared. Sure enough, any time-based ability is abnormal. Satoru scratched his head as he recalled the powerful time-based skills he had just learned. A shrunken version of Izanagi, but relatively, the price is not worth mentioning. Spell name, Time Flashback. Spell cost, high. Effect, after casting the spell for a few seconds, the state of the caster will return to before that number of seconds. Reminder, if the caster dies within this time, the spell will become invalid. The duration of the spell varies according to the consumption and the degree of spell control, and the caster can actively cancel the time flashback effect in advance. Simple and rude, except for the high consumption and the need to master the timing of use, it is simply a perfect spell. Well, it's a pity that there is no powerful enough source of arcane energy for further research, otherwise, you should have a deeper understanding of time-based spells. Enlightenment stroked the closed book of Medivh with regret. Time-based spells usually consume a huge amount of arcane energy, and this was after mastering the spellcasting skills. If you research from scratch, you need a powerful arcane energy source. I don't know if the tailed beast chakra is okay, but there is no way to test it now, and the 9 llamas are still sealed. Human mages still have too little research on time, even guardians. If you can master how the bronze dragons use arcane power, it will be a wonderful experience to travel in time. Thinking of the mysterious cave of time, the magnificent flow of time, and the portal to other time and space, Wu couldn't help but think of the consequences of traveling through the flow of time. If history is changed, it will have an unknown impact on the current world, which is a matter of course. However, in the ninja world, do parallel time and space exist? The ninja world I am in now is a parallel time and space? Or is it the original timeline that has changed? After pondering for a long time, Wu smiled wryly and shook his head. Forget it, don't think about it for the time being. After studying for so long, if you don't go out again, Dad and the others will probably think that I'm missing. If you can slow down the time, can you spend a lot of research time? Spiritual time room. The figure disappeared into the personal space, and Wu appeared in his room. Well, after eating magic food for so long, let's go out and eat some real food. Walking to the snack street next to the hot spring street, Wuhan was looking for something to eat, but he saw a young man wearing a chef's hat hanging a lantern at the door outside a small, inconspicuous shop. The shop hadn't opened yet, and there was something like a notice board at the door. But the words on the lantern have already blinded Wu-Wu's eyes. Yele. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 209. Chapter 209 The Legendary Eel Ramen. Satoru rubbed his eyes, and took a closer look. That's right, it's a joy. Satoru saw clearly what was written on the notice board at the door. Eel Ramen. Great opening bonus, all food and beverages in our store are half price. Today only. Wu watched the young brother hang up the lantern, was about to open the door and put down the Norin curtain, and ran over quickly. At the beginning of the legend, since I met it, how could I not witness it? Hey boss. The young brother turned around, and the squinting eyes of the big boss behind the scene made Wu instantly sure. This is the young Eel Ramen owner. Ah, customer, the shop is not open yet. Ahaha, is this a new restaurant? What a coincidence, I just came across it when I was looking for something to eat. Fate, it must be fate. When will the store open? Wu went up to help the leader, and the boss quickly thanked. Thank you very much, Dad, the shop will open soon, and you are the first customer. I make handmade ramen. I hope my eel ramen can satisfy you. Aha, I'm looking forward to it. You'll be waiting in line for a half-price reward. Wu saw that someone had already noticed this newly opened shop. After all, the words half-price reward were incomparably attractive no matter which world they were in. However, it's still a little early for lunch, and everyone basically just took a look, and no one really came in yet. But this is where realization comes out on top. Oh, here is the menu, let me see, ramen 60 taels, vegetable ramen 65 taels, salt ramen 70 taels, tonkotsu ramen 60 taels, special char siu ramen 75 taels, eggs 8 taels, rice 15 taels. Oh. And beer and sake too. And the boss, the price here is really not expensive. Wu waved his hand. One serving of special char siu ramen with eggs. Okay, wait a moment. The operation was as fierce as a tiger, and Wu was dazzled by watching. Eel ramen is indeed worth appreciating from production to serving. The most exquisite materials, peak skills, and abundant emotions, this is the delicacy of my handmade secret recipe. Special char siu ramen with egg, you are the first customer in this shop, these 2 slices of special thick char siu are my gift, please use. Wow! Thanks for hitting the boss. A large steaming bowl of ramen was served, and the aroma was tangy. Wu took apart the chopsticks. Then I'll start. Oh! It's really delicious. It is worthy of being a legendary ramen, indeed it has the quality and delicacy handed down from generation to generation. Slap the boss, your soup is absolutely amazing, the noodles are also very delicious. Wu was full of praise, but the boss shook his head with regret. It's a pity. According to my original idea, if the water for making noodles and soup can be better, the taste will be better, but this is already the purest mountain spring water, and I really can't find better water. Ah! Scratching his head embarrassingly, he said in embarrassment. I'm sorry, guest, you are the first guest, I couldn't help but say it, but don't worry, the current eel ramen is the best I can make. Oh! Could it be better? Satoru drank the remaining noodle soup in one gulp, and sighed contentedly. Not bad, really good, but if it can be better, it should be better. I can't help you with other things, but pure water. Shuta's eyes widened, and he saw Wu wave his hand, and a crystal blue light flashed in his hand, a head-sized water ball. Show up at the bar. This water mass won't disperse? Handa was surprised to see a ball of water rolling on the bar, the crystal clear water made his eyes widen. Master Ninja, you are. Well, the purest glacier water is inexhaustible. Wu beckoned, and the water ball floated in front of the startled hand. Handa boss, how about trying this water? No worries, no matter how much you use it, it will grow back this big fast. After beating my hands for a while, I couldn't speak, what the ninja adults made. I'll try. Handa is still young after all, and he is quick to accept new things. He took a spoon, scooped up a spoonful of magic glacier water, and took a sip. This is such a wonderful and pure taste. The spoon trembled from his hand, his eyes were shining, and his whole body seemed to be bloody. This is the ultimate water I have been looking for. Guest, wait a moment. He took out a large pot with his hands, scooped up a pot of magic glacier water, and watched in shock as the water mass returned to its original size. Guest. You must try my ultimate masterpiece. Hey, don't be in a hurry, beat the boss, the guests are already here, and there is no way to redo the soup and noodles in a hurry, this is your first day of opening. This water ball is for you, I will taste your masterpiece again at dinner time. Wu left the money, turned around and left, and a shout came from behind him. Guest. I can't take your money. This water is too precious. Well, you're welcome, it's not a problem for me. Guest, you. Slap the boss, see you in the afternoon. Shua. Wu's figure disappeared, startling the hand that chased him out of the store. Huh? Was that Wu just now? Raising his head, he saw a fat man with red long hair and a fat man with flat hair appearing in front of him. Wow! Half-price reward? Did Wu eat here just now? That guy is finally willing to come out of the laboratory? Huh? Is that the simplified version of Wu's water element? Boss, it seems you like him very much. This ninja-sama, do you know that lore just now? Ah, that's right, Mightyman Satoru, the elite jonin, the son of advisor Mightyman Yan, that guy can make a lot of delicious food by himself, and he can also fall in love with this ramen, it seems that the taste must be good. The fat man with long red hair, Chiudeo Dingzo touched his belly and greeted the fat man with flat hair next to him. Wow, ha ha ha. Yoshimaru, let's have bowl noodles too. Boss, I want the kind that the guy asked for just now. Don't worry, the delicacy certified by our Chiu Taoist will soon spread throughout the village. Ah! Xiaoda fell into a blissful hustle. In the afternoon, during dinner time, Wu came to the snack street again. What's the matter with so many people? There is already a long queue at the door of Il Ramen, and there are quite a few acquaintances in the queue. I really want to eat ramen quickly. Huh? It's Wu-sama. It's mute, the little girl looks very looking forward to it. Huh? Teacher Wu, are you coming to eat ramen too? Handmade hard noodles from the boss, soul soup. I will definitely taste it. This passionate voice, is Akai. Well, inheriting this secret taste is also a manifestation of the will of fire. Asma, is he practicing smoking a cigarette with 1,000 books in his mouth now? It's just ramen. You guys are really imaginative, but it's because it's said to be made with Wu teacher's water element, so I came to try it. Kakashi. Aren't you also in line? Akai, Shizuan, Asma, and Kakashi are here too. Teacher Wu. The little guys saluted together, and Wu hurriedly waved his hands. Ahaha, you eat your food, I'm just. Brother Wu. Wu Yi turned around, Minato. Kakashi was also taken aback, Minister Minato? Is there a mission? Brother Wu, Kakashi, you are all here, there is an urgent mission. Namikaze Minato was wearing a full set of reinforced combat uniform, and nodded to Satoru with a serious face. Okay, I'll take you there, Akai, Jingyin, Asma, enjoy the delicious food, let's go first. Shua. Satoru disappeared in place with Minato and Kakashi. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 210. Chapter 210 The Lost Tower. In short, you already understand the content of the mission. The third Hokage Hiruza Sarutobi looked at the three ninjas standing in front of him, and nodded solemnly. Although the information is not very detailed, the matter of the Lilan dragon vein is of great importance, you must be careful. The mission is top secret, so don't contact other people afterwards, go directly. Originally, I wanted Minato to take 3 people there, because he had already learned the powerful sealing technique, but it would be great if you were here, so you can lead the team, the 3 of you can go. Goto turned his head in pain and glanced at Minato, who shrugged innocently, and Kakashi, who looked bewildered. Huh. I originally planned to take 3 people with Minato? That is to say, 4 people originally went? I just happened to be caught. How do you think I can beat 2 with 1? Isn't it possible? Then I'll ask Shenshu to come over. Forget it, that kid is in love, and spends all day planting flowers and potted plants for carnations, cut. Minato's lips squirmed, and when he was about to open his mouth, Wu's sharp eyes swept over him. Minato, I've just happened to be discovered by you, Kushina will understand, right? Yes, yes. Kakashi looked at Satoru with curled lips, then at Minato who was scratching his head with a wry smile, and sighed helplessly. Oh, it's really difficult. Is it really good to go out with the 2 teachers? Stop talking nonsense, you little bean, let's go. Satoru put his hands on Minato and Kakashi's shoulders respectively, and bared his teeth at Hiruzoru Sarutobi, who was covering his face. By the way, I suggest you try the newly opened Yil Ramen in the snack street, but you have to wait in line. Get out. Shua. Wu's teleportation coordinate locking range is not so wide, and he cannot directly locate Lilan from Konoha. But Lilan is located in the vast desert west of the Kingdom of Wind, so it is always right to come to the Kingdom of Wind first. Because of Mr. Kakuto's relationship, Wu also had several teleportation points in the Land of Winds, and chose the one closest to Lilan. The 3 of Wu appeared at the target location wearing masks with local characteristics. Let's move on. Speaking of which, I'm still very interested in this dragon vein. Before coming here, Enlightenment had already thought about it carefully. Among the scraps of plot information he had sorted out and mastered by himself, there was no such paragraph in the main storyline. Therefore, it is probably either the TV original or the theater version, anyway, it has little impact on the main line. But Hiruzoru Sarutobi's description of the dragon's veins made him very interested. The power of the dragon vein sleeping underground is a collection of huge energies flowing underground, almost infinite chakra. Isn't this a tailed beast without self-awareness? Come to the pillow when you are sleepy. I was still thinking about where to find a huge source of arcane energy to study time spells, and this happened. Although the source of chakra is not the same as the source of arcane energy, if this dragon vein is really formed naturally, it will be more primitive than the chakra of ninjas, have more magical functions, and be closer to arcane energy. It only needs some simple changes and adaptations to provide a good research environment, really good. Teacher Wu. You are so amazing. Kakashi's eyeballs were about to pop out. He knew Minato's flying Raijin jutsu, and he also knew that Goto was stronger than Minato's flying Raijin, but it was so strong. This is teleportation with 2 people across the country. Huh. It's just because I left a positioning spell near here when I performed the mission before. The others just consume a lot of energy. Minato can do it in a short time. Enlightenment looked at the vast desert in front of him, and said. Let's go, how about I help you accelerate? Good. Ahaha, Brother Wu, you have saved a lot of time by bringing us here. You must have consumed a lot of chakra, so we can just go there at normal speed. Minato pressed Kakashi's head, and pressed back what he wanted to promise. He knows what Wu's group acceleration skill is. Really burning ass. So he interrupted Kakashi's death in time, and smiled reluctantly. Just right, we can also discuss the battle plan on the road. Oh well. Wu nodded regretfully, but failed to trick anyone. Protect Queen Sarah of Lilan and seal the dragon's veins. Really, that puppet master, Beiju, has lived in Lilan for 6 years and wants to come out to do things. I'm impatient, really impatient. Satoru, Minato, and Kakashi made complaints as they moved forward. If it were me, I would definitely have to study the dragon's veins clearly, and even hold the control right in my hands, and fully grasp those powers before I can do anything. So this Beiju is an idiot, and he even goes by the pseudonym Lushan. What an unlucky name. It looks like a villain at first glance, a guy who can't calm down to do research, don't think about shocking the world. Brother Wu, fortunately you are from our Konoha. Minato wiped the cold sweat off his brow. Indeed, if Satoru wants to do something to be hostile to Konoha, then who can bear it? Mr. Minato, puppetry should be a technique unique to the Land of Winds, right? I haven't seen it a few times. Yeah. Minato looked at Kakashi strangely. You don't know, isn't your father's most famous achievement? Dad, didn't he become famous by killing enemies on the battlefield? Kakashi scratched his head. His father was known as Konoha White Fang, but since the last rumor incident, he hardly participated in foreign missions. As the Hokage guard, Heitake Sakumo must also keep a low profile, so Kakashi is really not very clear about his various legends and details. Mr. Sakumo's famous battle in the ninja world was when he single-handedly killed the 2 strongest puppet masters in the Kingdom of the Wind, second only to Advisor Cho. Brother Wu witnessed that battle with his own eyes. Oh. That's right. Teacher Wu, tell me about it. Well, that's it. Satoru thought about it, and told Kakashi the battle that year in detail. It was the first time that even Minato had heard such a detailed version. So, when dealing with puppet masters, Mr. Shuomo especially emphasized that weapons such as chakra knives can cut off the chakra puppet line. However, puppet masters are very good at paying attention to this point. If the melee weapon skills are not good, it will not be of much use. Wu concluded. There are also puppet masters who hide themselves in puppets, so you can't find the chakra lines. So don't be obsessed with destroying the chakra line, it depends on the situation. Of course, it would be better if you can directly destroy the puppet. Now we still lack information on Centipede. When we get there, the 3 of us will find a meeting place. Minato, you can't just leave the Hiraishin spell right now, so Konoha will give Kakashi a hand. Minato nodded, and Satoru looked at the ancient city of Lilan in front of him, and told Kakashi. Remember, run away if you can't do anything, don't be foolish and desperate. Yes, Teacher Wu.